The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. This is Kevin Hadley with hh2 Cloud Services. Thank you so much for taking a moment out of your day to join me for this presentation. I also want to thank Alliance for joining me as well, or for giving us this opportunity and this platform to show our human resources products to their client base who are using Sage 300 CRE. I know we had a number of people who were planning on joining us. Since it is on the hour, I won't make the rest of you wait as we wait for them. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Prior to getting started, I just would like to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. So before the GoToWebinar panel slides off to the side of your computer, if you would please raise your hand, pull that panel over and click on the button to raise your hand so I can make sure that you guys can hear me okay. All right, very good. So I'm just going to turn off some of my notifications there. So some of you have found that hand button and can hear as well. So thank you very much. I'll go ahead and just put those hands down. Now let's make sure that you can see my screen here that says hh2 Cloud Services, making construction mobile, and you have the hh2 Human Resources here. If you can see that, if you would please raise your hand again. I just want to make sure that my screen is showing properly and making sure that that is up there for you. All right, I'm not seeing any hands being raised. So again, if you can see my mouse moving across here. Okay, all right, okay. Now we are getting a few of you raising your hands there as well. So thank you very much. That way, at least I'm hoping you're able to see my screen. Now, everybody today is on mute. We do that because many of you have just joined us using your possibly your mic and speakers. It looks like several of you are just using the mic and speakers on your phones or on your computers there. So that's great. Some of you may also be using the phone and have me on just a speakerphone. So we don't hear the background noise, we keep everybody on mute. If you do have questions in the GoToWebinar panel, you can bring that to the forefront, and there you can ask any questions that you have. I will do my best to take a look at that and monitor that and make sure that I'm seeing those questions and answering those questions as they come across. Now again, before I get started, I just wanted to do one more thank you to everyone there at Alliance for giving us this platform. We have a number of our clients who are Alliance customers and are using the Sage products. Now, for this particular product that you're taking a look at today, it does only integrate at the present time with Sage 300 CRE or Timberline. If you are a Sage 100 customer, you're welcome to take a look, but this particular product that we have at hh2 does not integrate with Sage 100, only Sage 300 CRE or Timberline. We are looking into the Sage 100 integration, but not at the present time. So again, I don't want to waste your time if you are a Sage 100 customer and happen to have joined us today. Hopefully this went out to everybody that's 300. So again, thanks to everybody for joining us. Let's go ahead and just kind of get started. I'm going to go through just a couple of slides to explain a little bit about who we are as a company. I won't spend a lot of time there because I prefer to spend most of our time today within the product itself. Okay, and we'll kind of be using or jumping into the product live so you can see how it works there. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and hit the slideshow, and we'll just kind of say play from the start. So it'll kind of open up our screen here, make it look a little bit better. Again, the particular product we'll go through today is the hh2 Human Resources module. Let's talk a little bit about the integration. So as I mentioned, this product was built from the ground up to work with and synchronize with Sage 300 CRE. Back in the day, it was called Timberline. And many of you may continue to refer to it like that. With hh2, when we come along and you sign up for our product and service, we install what's called a synchronization client. And the synchronization client is going to reside on the same server that your Sage 300 CRE system currently resides on. We do that so that we can stay connected with Sage and the employee records within Sage. The nice thing about this synchronization tool and this particular product with hh2 is the fact that data is not only syncing from Sage to our data center, but as you are working on this as an HR manager or making changes within our system to the employee record, it is automatically syncing back down and updating the employee record in Sage 300. Okay, so again, there is a seamless synchronization there. If you make changes within the employee record in Sage, our system's going to recognize that. It's going to sync that data up to the servers and make it available in the cloud or in our software. If you make the change in our software, it will sync it back down. Now, throughout the presentation, I will tell you the various fields that we have in hh2 that actually do the synchronization. Because as you know, the employee records within Sage 300, they're not meant, the employee, the payroll module is what I'm trying to get out of my mouth. The employee module within Sage 300 was not necessarily meant to be an HR system. So we do some other things outside of Sage. So that's a little bit about that synchronization process that we go through here at hh2. Now that we've got a mobile app, this is an old slide. We've since updated that, so I'll show you that to you a little bit later. In addition to human resources, we do much more here at hh2. The flagship product that we have is called hh2 Remote Payroll. It's by far the best-selling module that we have. We also have a field reports product and a field service product as well. But today we're going to focus on the human resources. If you guys have any questions, I'll put up my information at the end of the presentation, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Here is my information. I'm the one doing the demo for you today. My name's Kevin Hadley. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at hh2, and I've been with the company over a decade. So we've been at this a long time and have a lot of clients using our products and services. Again, I'll bring this back up at the end of the presentation. So if you need to get a hold of me for any reason or have interest in our other products, we'll talk to you a little bit about those. Okay. So with that, let's just jump right into some of the things we're going to talk about today. So again, because we're a fully hosted cloud solution, the only thing that's installed on your system is that synchronization client. It's a service that runs on your server there. Then every company has their own hh2, what we call identifier or website. I'm just going to go to demo.hh2.com today, and I'm going to log in as an HR admin. Okay, so we will also log in today as an employee, so you can see the difference between what an employee may see and what a human resource manager might see. Over to the side here, the left side of the page of our website, you'll notice that there's several different tabs. It depends on which modules you've signed up for with hh2, and of course today we're going to capture HR. So let's jump into the HR module here. Now let's talk a little bit about this menu that you see here on your screen. Again, this is This is the module or the screen that an admin would see. So you've got the general information. So I've got employee records, job site and crew dashboard is for employee. The job site and crew dashboards are for people like your crew leads or a superintendent out at a job site, and we'll show you a little bit about those. My records is what the employee will log into either on the website or on the mobile app, and we'll show you those today as well. The document library is where we store different documents to give the employee access to documents, stuff like that. We'll talk a little bit more about reporting at the end. The enterprise section is really for looking across the entire enterprise. So if I wanted to look at certifications, for instance, and say, show me everybody with fall protection or the OSHA 10 or whatever training, I could search for that, and I'll do a couple of examples of that throughout the presentation. Now, before I get into some of these, one of the most important questions and things that we like to cover up front is the security groups. So because we're dealing with sensitive data from employees, and because we may have multiple people within the company that may need access to employee records, you can set up various types of groups of employees. Maybe you have an administrative group. And then if you set up an administrative group, you can specify employees who may be managers of that group or who have access to that group. And then once you set that up, then you will assign employees within your company to that specific group. So if these employees are my administration staff, then only these managers right here can see these employees. Okay. In addition to that, what you can do as well is you have this little key, and in here you can check the boxes that you want this employee to be able to have access to. So even though they may be a manager, it does not mean they have access to the entire system. Okay, so that's critical. Oftentimes during a presentation, I will give a simple example of I've got a safety director within the company. And that safety director needs to have access to the certifications and trainings within hh2. But I don't want to give the safety director access to the employee's pay rates or any other sensitive information. Then I would just check the boxes like this enterprise certification for that safety manager so that that safety manager can have access to stuff like that. Okay, so again, we help you set this up. I do like to cover it up front because I know someone on the presentation will typically ask that question. Okay, so let's go back over to this menu. So we've already covered a little bit about the security groups. Now let's go into the employee records, and this is where we'll spend the majority of our time today. Now, these employee records that you see here, again, please remember that they have synchronized from my Sage 300 system. All right, once they are in hh2, you have the ability, I'm going to go to Brandon, he's the one I always use on my presentations. You can go into Brandon and you can see different tabs here that are up top. Okay, these are just a handful of tabs that we have. There are other tabs across the top here that you see. I just hit this button right here to scroll over to the other ones. Now, you do not have to turn on every tab in the system, but everything that I'm going to show you today is included in the monthly pricing of this particular product. So nothing is piecemeal. You don't have this add-on or that add-on. Everything that I show you in HR comes with our HR program. Okay, let's go down the employee info tab, this one furthest to the left. Okay, so here I've got Brandon Egan. His code came over from Sage, his name, his imported name, what his first name, last name, his hire dates, rehire dates. Again, all of this information is pulled directly from Sage. If I decided to put in a termination date within hh2, again, it's going to sync it down and put a termination date within Sage on that employee record. You would put their email address, their phone numbers, etc. Okay, a lot of this stuff, again, is coming directly from Sage. If you are using the miscellaneous 1 and 2 fields within Sage, we also sync to that as well. Okay, so let's just go down the list of things that you can do. You can also see that this was highlighted. So maybe this person, Kim, who I'm logged in as, received an email from hh2, and it was a change request that Brandon had sent in. So she gets a change request because Brandon on his phone said, hey, you've got me down the fact that I'm married and I'm no longer married. I got a divorce over the weekend, and so I changed or updated my records, and you can see these things right here. Okay, so just FYI, it does not make the change until you come down here and say, hey, yeah, I want to accept these changes or reject the changes, etc. Or make a slight change to it. Once you accept the changes, it will make a change to that employee's record, and again, not only updated in our system, but in Sage. You'll also see that I have the ability to upload a photo for that employee when we hire them. There are some employee mappings that we may map them to a user account within hh2. It's very easy to do. You will give them permissions to say, hey, I want to be able to have this guy see his records, access my records in hh2. Once again, I'll show that as we go throughout the presentation, what the employee would see on their end. The address, very simple, comes over from Sage. Personal information comes over. Any sensitive data, you can choose whether or not you synchronize the Social Security number from Sage to hh2. Typically, a lot of companies just leave that unchecked when we install the sync client. They say, hey, we never change it. We don't necessarily need it. If we do need it, we'll just go directly to Sage to get it. So it's up to you. Payroll information, again, if they've got information on their employee record dealing with the pay group or job, a specific job or cost code associated with their employee record, you can do that also. But emergency contacts. Within hh2, you have the ability to add emergency contacts into the system. Now, either the employee can add it themselves, or maybe you want to take and add the first one for them as you hire them on. You just click the plus button over here, put in the first name, last name, relationship, etc. Any of the information you want added to that emergency contact. Again, either the HR manager, Kim, can add that, or the employee on their mobile device or on the web can add whatever emergency contacts. Or if he just got a divorce, he can click on the trash can and delete that specific contact. Okay, so again, things that they can do. Identifications, you can store a different ID. So when you hire an employee, many of you are grabbing a copy of their driver's license, green cards, again, any of that I-9 information. You just click the plus button over here, specify what you want to grab, right? If it's a state ID card, driving privilege card, whatever it is you gather, you can do that right here and add that identification. I won't spend a lot of time on that, but you can see that you can do different things there. You can specify languages that they speak if you want, substitutes if there's a substitute for that employee, and any comments. Now, on the comments side of things, this is typically used for companies that say, hey, when I hire an employee, if I gave them a cell phone, if I gave them a laptop, an iPad, tool belt, whatever it may be, you can just add that comment for anything you would like. So again, that's the employee information tab. Please remember that as if I change any data in here, it'll sync back to Sage and vice versa, sync back up to hh2. So hopefully that helps and is very clear to everybody there. Again, please remember throughout the presentation, I'm more than happy to answer some of the questions that you might have. I love an interactive demo, so if you have those. Let's keep going. The next one over that we do is classifications. Okay, so in the classification section, most all of you classify your employees in one form or another. Might be general laborers, finished carpenters, electricians, superintendents, project managers, whatever. Within hh2, you'll come in and assign various classifications to your employees, so that if you ever get to the point and you want to do a report on the classifications, you may come over here to the HR button, click on the HR button, go to classifications, and just simply say, hey, I need to see everybody right now. Just show me right now all of my finished carpenters. And within the system, it would show me who is a finished carpenter. Now, you'll also notice these kind of colorful little things here to the side with different ratings or evaluations. If I wanted to, there's 35 submitted ratings for Brandon. We use him a lot in our demo sites. For example, if you've got a guy that goes out in the field and he works for a manager, and that manager really liked that employee, said he was a great job, I'd love to have him on any of the other jobs I have, it's a great place to just rate a manager. So over here, it would say, who rated this employee? What was he on? Was he on a crew or on a specific job? How was he rated? Were there any notes? And so we just keep track of all those ratings. So if by chance we ever go through a downturn like we did back in, late, 2008, 9, 10, you can go through that, and if you're needing to get rid of employees, you kind of look and see how they were rated. It's kind of a nice thing to have, or if you're going to bid for a job and you want some of your best finished carpenters available, then you can also filter it and rate it there. So anyway, it's kind of a nice tab to have. Let's go back to Brandon's record now. So I can specify different types of classifications for Brandon. Now, the next one over is our location management, keeping track of where employees are located or assigning them to various locations. Part of our customers who use both our remote payroll and HR products, in remote payroll, you can turn the system on to say, hey, just assign it to whoever is coding time for that employee in remote payroll. So I don't have to go in here and assign the employee to a specific job or to a specific crew. Now, again, you can do that within hh2. You can say, show me a historical assignment, date that they are assigned. Is it by crew or by job or by company location? All of that's found down in here. So you can do various assignments. Then from there, I won't necessarily at this particular stage in the demo, I won't go back over to the enterprise section, but you can do run reports, say, show me everybody that's on the large high school or that's part of Grant's crew or Bob's crew or Jim's crew, whatever. So you can do things like that. So that's just locations. And you can also see right here their past assignments, where they've been, how long, the date they were unassigned from that location. Okay. The next one over is probably the most widely used tab within our human resource product by far, bar none, other than probably the employees logging in to see their copy of their pay stubs. This particular tab is used more than anything else. This one here, you can see various certifications and trainings that this employee has. You'll notice that I don't have many attachments in here. It's not often that people will attach the certificate that the employee gets, but you can add an attachment. So if this guy has OSHA 10, you may not have an expiration date. You may just simply have an effective date. So we show that, and we show who it was modified by. So if we just got through with the training and we wanted to say, hey, this guy now has a CDL license, or we did a training on fall protection today, we want to update that record. You'll notice that it expires here in July, and we'll look at a few reports. So this is just looking at it on Brandon's record. Now, this one I will go over to the enterprise reports because most people do like this particular section. So I can come over here to either my filter area by clicking on the filters, or just clicking on the certifications and just say, show me just fall protection. This is one we want to keep track of. And show me everybody that's going to expire in 90 days. And let's see if it brings up anyone here. And you'll notice that Brandon is going to expire in 90 days, right? He's going to expire July 1st. So I need to get Brandon in to get retrained before that takes place. So just different features that you can do. If I went back into that and just say, show me everybody that's current on this particular fall protection, this would show me everybody that's current. Okay, so it's pretty simple. I can then use the export button to export this into PDF or Excel. I won't necessarily do that in this presentation, but I can select that, and then I can decide, if I wanted to, sort out on this report. I could sort things out on a specific report. So again, that's looking at it across the enterprise section. All right, let's go back to Brandon's record here then. Okay, so again, that's probably one of the most widely used ones that we have. The next one that is pretty popular is the evaluations tab. You'll also notice a little bit of a change in some of these different tabs that we have. We're in the process of updating from the ground up our HR system. We're updating in place. And so some of these tabs are currently being worked on the development side, so they look more like this here. It's a little bit more fresh and clean. This looks a little bit more old in some of our, so as you see some of these screens, that's why there's a little bit of a difference here as we upgrade this in place for our customers. Evaluations, you can set up your own evaluation criteria or skills matrix. We'll help you set that up. You set it up with your individual items. But if I wanted to go back in time and say, hey, I wanted to see how this guy was rated back in 2013, let's take a look at that. I can open up that particular evaluation for this employee. Now, what you'll see on this screen, again, this general work habits, safety, rough carpentry, all of those things we will help you design within the system. So it is your data that you want to capture, not hh2. So we'll just show you how to plug these things in, and then you just evaluate that employee from 1 to 5 and rate them on various things. Then you can put in individual notes that you would like to write on an employee, etc. As you have those, and if you wanted to ever print those out, you can print those out in an Excel format. So if I wanted to download, I just click the button there, open up that specific employee's evaluation form, and then you can kind of see that form there. Okay, pretty simple, nice little form, easy to see, easy to gain access to. So as we're doing different evaluations on employees, one of the things we are also working on as well is putting together a forms page within our HR product and allowing you to upload your own individual type of forms. That will be coming down the line. I don't have a hard date on that, but that's a feature that will be coming to our HR product. So there's evaluations. So I can kind of see and keep track of those. The next one over is the raise request tab. It's not a tab that's used very often within our system as we've kind of do queries and see which features and functionality clients are using, but it's there for you. For some companies, they love it. They live and breathe by sending out raise requests for employees. Now, Brandon can't just log into hh2 and say, hey, I think I need a raise. Send this off to the HR people and spin the wheel and see if they accept it this time. So it's not really for that. This is more for like managerial people to be able to send in a raise request on an employee or have it go through the company for a review. If you do have reviewers on a raise request, you can specify who those reviewers are, and then you can see whether or not these individuals have approved the raise request for Brandon. Okay, each of the people in the review process will get an email notifying, hey, you've got a raise request that you need to review. They may come into the employee records, look at it, look at the evaluations and say, hey, yeah, we don't want to lose this guy. He's been with us for a long time. Maybe he's going to go over to the competitor because right now finding good help is a little tough, etc. So anyway, that's something that you can do with raise requests. Now, the benefits section here is, this takes a little bit more explanation. And within our benefits, we are able to tie our system to the benefits that you have set up in Sage. So if you have benefits and rates, fringes, deductions, all of those things set up in Sage and you keep track of that, we can actually map our system to the benefits in Sage. So let's say that this employee decided to, we'll see if this works. We were just setting up some new things in the system this morning. We'll take a look. So if we were doing dental insurance, for instance, and the employee rate, we could choose the employee rate, family rate, two-party. Let's just say this, he says, yeah, I want to have the dental insurance set up for me, and then I can save that enrollment. We'll see if it creates it here. We may not have set up, the enrollment couldn't be validated. We don't have some other things set up on the demo site, but that's how I would change or add a deduction, add a benefit to an employee's page. So part of the setup, and I'll kind of take you there, for companies that want to keep track of these, if I change a rate in hh2, it's going to go down into Sage and say, maybe I took an employee from a two-party rate or an employee rate to a family rate. Once I choose the family rate in hh2, it's going to apply the necessary fringe and the deduction based upon how I set it up. How those are set up within hh2 are simply found down here in the data setup. Okay, and I want to go to benefits. So if I go into dental insurance and I've got some rates and different things set up, well, what is my employee rate? Well, maybe I've got, I can edit the rate, put the description in there if I want, the fringes on this particular one, the deduction, it looks like all we have is a deduction. So if the employee signs up for dental insurance, we're going to make them pay for it. I can specify amount. If I go into that deduction, I can specify the period. Is there a limit? Is there a formula? What's your calc method? Again, this starts getting into the weeds a little bit, maybe more than all of you on this demo need to kind of know and understand. But I like to show it because the screens are very easy and they're fast and they're very quick to be able to get to. Okay, so I can specify what the eligibility requirements are, and that's probably why this one isn't showing up, is because I don't have any requirements on it, etc., because of the new site. So anyway, I can do that, and then I can also come over here to the benefit enrollment or the benefit eligibility, and I can sort this by benefit, right? So show me everybody that's available for or eligible for 401k, or that has 401k. This is in particular is the benefit enterprise benefit enrollment section. So I can see stuff like that, excuse me, within the section. So I can do benefit enrollment, or I can do eligibility. And again, based upon how you've set things up, show me everybody today that's eligible for dental insurance, right? And right now, because we don't have those parameters, everybody right now in the company is available for those benefits there. So just again, some nice reports that I'm able to see, keep track of there. But again, you'll notice that there is a little bit of setup to do if you decide to map our benefits within the benefits within Sage. One little caveat again for those individuals who are interested, and then I'll get to the question that was just asked, is once you start using the benefits portion within hh2, then you have to start managing those benefits in our system, and then we sync it down to Sage. But again, if you want more details on that, we can ask. Let's go ahead and take a look at the question that came in. Our benefits broker maintains our benefits portal. Could you set up hh2 portal to be viewed only for the employees on the benefits side, so the employee could see what is attached to their employee file, but would have to submit changes in the other portal? Okay, that's a good question. So, and maybe there's a little two-part to that question. We don't map to your providers or any other providers other than Sage. And the employee themselves cannot make these changes. So the employee couldn't log in and say, hey, I want to change from this rate to this rate. That is only for an HR administrator to make the changes. So if they wanted to, or if in your specific instance as a company, okay, Jason, you said that makes sense. I won't belabor the point. But anyway, if an employee wanted to make those changes, they would have to go to your own benefit portal there. But anyway, I appreciate the question, because like I said, I like an interactive demo. So that's benefits. Let's go to discipline for an employee. So if I were to write up an employee either as a manager out at the job site, and I said, hey, this guy's just really not working out, through one of the other portals that we do have, like a job site manager or a superintendent, he could submit these. And you'll see right here that this particular one was added back in 3/29 of 2018 by Kim. It was done for Amanda. It was requested by Amanda Banks on behalf of Brandon. And there's the job was the large high school. The supervisor was Nick, and this is when it was issued here, stuff like that. So anyway, not sure why that's showing it's updated. It's probably because I clicked on that and it was updated because I had looked in on that. So you can specify when they're issued. Not really used a lot within our system, but it's available. It's a nice place to at least keep track of. If I've got to get rid of an employee, I may want to go to the discipline section just for backup. Okay, you can upload attachments. Some companies will have their own unique forms that they fill out. So you can use your own form, upload a copy of that attachment so it becomes part of Brandon's record. Okay, let's keep going over. So I clicked on the arrow to take me to the other things here. So you can also keep track of multiple hire dates for Brandon. And possibly if this guy's on FMLA, taking a leave of absence, active duty, has there been a furlough, whatever the case may be. Again, you're just keeping track of historical hire information. Okay, not a real extensive tab, but it's there for you. The next one over is a termination request. It's much similar to the raise request tab, in that maybe you want to be able to set up a review for someone before letting them go. You have to have other people who review this termination request for an employee. Again, not widely used, but it is something there that's available for you there. The education tab is for keeping track of the employee's education. So if they graduated from high school, if they're currently going to a trade school, going to college, it's just a nice place to keep track of the employee's education. This will be changing over time as we add additional features and functionality in here. Our roadmap here is to start tracking more if they're going through some type of apprenticeship program. So that will be coming down the line as we decide to upgrade and update some more on this HR module. Now the pay and salary tab, this one right here that I highlighted, again, the pay and the salary is synchronized over from Sage. So whatever pay ID or pay type in Sage is listed on the employee record, this is what you're going to see in hh2. So if you've got regular overtime, salary pay, sick, vacation, whatever pay types, again, are associated with that employee's record, you can see it. You can also see past pay amounts. So I know within Sage itself, you don't have the ability to see historical pay rates, but you can, once you start using hh2, you'll be able to see those pay rates. You'll also see the last time it was modified and who modified this particular rate. Okay, if it ever says that it was modified by the hh2 admin, it simply means that we synced the rate or the new rate up from Sage. Okay, if I'm logged in as Kim and I decide to change the employee's rate, then it will state modified by Kim on such and such a day. Okay, so those historical pay rates are given here, and again, I can change it. If I just click on that, it brings it up here. I can make changes to the limit when I want it to be effective, and then it will start that new rate on the effective date that you put it on. Okay, so there's things that you can do there. The other buttons right here allows me to see the employees' pay stubs if I want. So if you guys are actually using the payroll module in Sage and today are either sending out a link using, for the life of me, I can't remember the system that some companies are using to send that out. I know I'll think of it here shortly, just having a little brain cramp. Or you're maybe still doing paper pay stubs. Well, if the employee needs to see a copy of their pay stub, hh2, through that synchronization process, is simply pulling pay records that make up the pay stub from Sage. So it will automatically default to the last 4 weeks, but if the employee calls me up as an HR admin and says, hey, I know I could log in hh2 myself, but I'm in a hurry and I just don't want to do it, so will you do it for me? So the pay or the HR admin may say, okay, let me go grab them from the first of the year, and up pops up, 16 pay stubs. Okay, and you'll put, we'll put your company name in the system, your company address, and stuff like that. I always get this question: what if we have like 2 pages of things that we keep track of, their hourly rates and their different pay rates based upon their classifications, and we show all the year-to-date taxes and deductions? Well, again, if you've got those specific rates set up in Sage and you've put on there, show these rates or printable, then they will show up here in hh2. And we'll talk a little bit about those as you guys, decide to sign up, and we'll kind of take a look at it. But anyway, it just has your company information. It's very nice. Quick example for everybody. I was looking for a new home, needed to supply some stuff as I applied for a loan and to get pre-qualified, so to speak. I just went in here myself into hh2, got my own pay stubs, copied them off, sent them off to to the company, and it was very nice. I didn't have to bother anybody within hh2 to get that for myself. While we are talking about that, let's go ahead for right now. Let's go ahead and swing across to another screen. Let's go ahead and open up a new browser. Let's say an employee. Let's go to the demo site here within hh2. Let's say the employee logged in from home. Okay, and it's not the admin, so let's log in as Brandon. Okay, Brandon logs in from home. What can Brandon see? Brandon logs in and he goes over here to HR. And as you can see, Brandon's menu is not anywhere close to what the admin sees. Let's go into My Records. Okay, so Brandon says, hey, this is the information that's in here on me. Here's my address, or maybe I moved. If Brandon moved, Brandon can click on this change request and submit a change request. okay, for himself. That's what I showed you earlier. He can see what benefits he's signed up for. And again, going back to the question that was asked earlier, can he request a new benefit? No, not in our system. It's just showing him whatever benefits we have him on tap for within the company. But here's where Brandon would grab his pay stubs right here. He said, hey, what did I get paid last week? He just, with a click of a button, he pulls it up and he sees his last 4 weeks of pay stubs. Okay, so simple enough. He can print them out from there, etc. Okay, accruals. So this is if you guys are using the accruals or pay types in Sage. They don't have to be set up as accruals. So some companies at the beginning of the year dump in an amount of time. Like for us at hh2, everybody gets various set of days. We don't accrue them as we go along. So at the beginning of the year, everybody gets some hours dumped in, and then we map our system to those pay types, such as vacation accruing, sick accruing, and whatever. If they are calculated rates in Sage, we will show where they're currently at. So I've got accruing information here, how many hours have spent, how many hours are remaining. I'll also get the question here, can I request time off? The answer to that today is no. That is one of the most widely requested items that we are putting on our development calendar to do that. But right now we're working on some other major initiatives within the company. But anyway, that's how accruals work. So an employee can see how much they've used, how much they have remaining. Also, for companies that tend to be using our remote payroll product, the employee can log in and actually do a report. And like, if I want to see, hey, how many days have I taken off so far? If they're using remote payroll, I can do a custom query based upon that. Or not a custom query. I can just do a report called a labor detail report and see that. Anyway, that's accruals. The W-2 tax forms, that's just, if I click on that, it'll take me to Atrix. Most of you are using that in Sage 300. So we don't actually log them in. They have to know their social security number and their password to see that information, but we at least give them a link. I actually used that too, again, to get a copy of my W-2s, some historical W-2s the other day when I was doing that. And then last but not least, documents. Okay, so employees can see a couple of different types of documents. One set of documents might be global documents. And an example of global documents are if you want to upload all kinds of forms for your employees to have access to, so that they don't have to come in to get something, you don't have to email it off, you just simply upload it to our document library within hh2 and make it accessible to the employees in the field. The other types of documents might be employee-specific documents. Maybe we have some test results that we just want to upload to that specific employee's private account in here that only the employee can see. Maybe I've got an offer letter or their resume. Again, all of these things you guys will design or specify as your own internal type of documents. I just have a few examples here. So as part of our document library and that, the employee can see that. Now, because I just want to do this real quick, and I know we've got only about 10 minutes left, I'm going to just take a moment and because I think it is kind of a big deal for employees to be able to see some things on their phones. So if I wanted to see my pay stub, and again, I'm logged in on here as Brandon, and I wanted to do my records. Let me just click on my records right here. And from here, if I want to just get my pay stubs, I just tap on pay stubs right there. Again, it automatically defaults to the last 4 weeks. Or I can say, hey, take me back to January 27th, get pay stubs. And there's my pay stubs right there on my phone, okay, on my device. If I am looking for a specific form or document, I can click on the document section. Say, hey, show me my dental forms. You know, maybe I've got a dental enrollment form I need to download, or show me, you know, all the health providers that I need to go to. Again, I think you get the idea that I can see any of the documents I have in store just right here on my phone using the hh2 app. I can also keep track of my certifications. Oh, what does the company have me down for? What's my OSHA 10? You know, I can tap on that one. I can see, you know, when it expires as well. So those are some of the things that they're able to do on their phones. One of the things that we're just adding is that same accruals tab that we have on the website, so they can see how many hours they have remaining. Okay, that's all I'll show on there. But it is, you know, kind of a nice, handy app. And here's where I could request the change. But it's just called hh2 My Records. It doesn't cost the employee anything to download. So we'll kind of get out of that and stop mirroring that there. Okay, so from there, let's go back, pull up the website, and talk about a couple of other things here lastly. Okay, so we've got payroll history. This will actually show or pull from Sage their past pay periods. So if I want to know, hey, does this guy regularly work 40 hours a week or whatever, this will pull that information right here from the screen. If you're using our remote payroll product, it will show the top job assignments that this guy's coding his time to, his most used cost codes for the year, etc. So just kind of a nice little payroll history tab. Accruals, like I showed you earlier, I can see how much they have available, how much they have remaining. And then documents. The documents side, again, this is where you upload various documents for this individual employee. Okay, so there's a lot to hh2. Let's also talk a little bit about some of the things that I often get a question on. So you might ask, hey, and nobody's asked it yet today, but do you have anything with onboarding, in particular? And the answer to that at the present time is no. Again, those are some of the features that we're looking to add on our roadmap. Again, just no timeline on that per se. But I'd like to show people what we have today. But I do know that one of those things is that people ask about is the onboarding capability. So nothing there. It's more of a lighter HR system. But again, I think one of the greatest benefits to our solution is, one, it's mobile. Two, we have mobile apps for the employees to be able to see various information. And probably the most important aspect of hh2 is that seamless synchronization with your accounting system with Sage 300. So we've kind of gone over most everything in here. The sync to SQL, if you guys like to do a bunch of different types of reports, instead of having you query the database, we have our customers download the information down to a SQL database so that you can run your own custom type of reports. If you're a good Crystal report writer and like to gather different fields that we have in hh2, we allow you to sync it down there. Manpower and Eeo reports are just that. We'll take a look at the Eeo report. Because you're setting up classifications in our systems, when you go to do your Eeo report, if you're a company the size that you need to fill that out each year, this is a great place to go to say, hey, how many executive senior level officers do I have? Are they Caucasian, Native American, Hispanic, etc.? You can see that kind of the standard fare there. But that's really the majority of things that we have here in hh2. Now, before we close, let's go over pricing. And I'm sure you're not familiar with a lot of companies that actually show their pricing all of the time, but we do on all of our products on our website. So if you're interested in knowing the pricing, it's here at www.hh2.com. I will click on our products at the top of the page and I'll go to human resources. So again, everything that I showed you today is included in the HR module. Right over here on the right side of my screen by features, tech specs is my pricing. So if I look at the pricing, here's how the product is priced. On this page, every company, no matter the size, from 1 to 1,000 or whatever, how many employees you have, every company that signs up for the software, their first month or when they sign up, they're going to get an invoice from us for 178. Okay? We always bill the first month out at the very lowest tier. It comes with 8 hours of training and implementation time. So every single section that I just went over with you today, we are going to help you set up those sections. It doesn't mean that we have to be there for you moving forward after we help you set it up, because once you learn how to set it up, you will manage it from there. But 8 hours is included for that 178. After the first month of service, you will be invoiced every month thereafter at the end of that month based upon active employees in Sage 300. So, for example, you've got 100 employees and they're all active in Sage 300. At the end of May, if you signed up in April, at the end of May, you would receive an invoice for $337 for those employees. Okay. And the nice thing about our solution, we feel, is that it will scale up and scale down based upon your actual employee count. So you're not paying for a solution in the winter months if you're real seasonal. So maybe during the summer, you go up to 150. Well, if you go up to 150 at the end of that month, you would be paying 416. If in the fall, you go back down to 100 employees, then your bill will go back down. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense to everybody there. There is no long-term contract. It is a month-to-month subscription. So again, everything was included. Employees can all have access to their records if you want. We don't price our product on individual licenses or whatever. You just do hh2, and then you guys determine how many employees you want to gain access, how many managers you have. So with that being said, again, I just want to take a moment once again and thank everyone at Alliance Solutions. They've been a great business partner that we have worked with for many years. We do have a number of their clients that use our products and services. I will bring this up one last time so you've got my information on the screen here. Feel free to contact us. I will reach out to everybody following this webinar just to say, hey, do you want a copy of it? It was recorded today. So if anybody needs to see that, I could do that as well. There was another question that came in. Are there any plans to integrate an applicant tracking system that will integrate with the HR module? That's a great question. And again, it goes back to kind of what I mentioned about onboarding. That is in the plans. It is in the works. I wouldn't sign up for the product in hopes that it will be out in the next 6 months, but it is something that we are definitely looking towards. We are not planning on integrating with another type of applicant tracking system at the present time, but there are plans to start doing a little bit more with onboarding. So thank you for that question, Amy. Again, if you need to talk to me, feel free to give us a call. If you want a copy of this, email me. I'll send that out. I'll also be sending it to Alliance. They too will probably end up putting it on their website for future use as well. So with that, again, I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate everybody's attendance today. I hope you have a great afternoon. If you are interested in any of our products, not just our HR, feel free to contact me or anybody at Alliance Solutions. I know Pat Warren was on the presentation today. If many of you know Pat, contact him and he knows how to get in touch with me as well. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great afternoon. And once again, we hope to hear from you soon and possibly work with your company setting up the HR solution. Have a great day. Bye-bye.